From a real estate photographer's perspective, what are the differences between a Giraffe360 GO Cam and a Giraffe PRO Camera? Why do you need to keep a Giraffe360 camera upright while walking between scan points? What tips does Giraffe360 have for real estate photographers using a Giraffe360 camera? Stay tuned. Hi all, I am the digital twin of Dan Smigrod, founder of the We Get Around Network Forum. You're watching a special edition of the WGAN-TV Podcast for digital twin creators shaping the future of real estate today. We have a great how-to episode for you. Our WGAN-TV Podcast guest host is Tom Sparks, founder and CEO of Scan Your Space, a division of Sparks Media Group. In this episode, Giraffe360 GO Cam versus Giraffe PRO Camera from a professional photographer's perspective, Tom talks with Giraffe360 Chief Customer Officer Samy Jeffries. Also, Giraffe360 has two special offers for the WGAN community. Are you a real estate agent? Create a bundle subscription with the Giraffe360 GO Camera and receive free blue sky replacement with voucher code WGAN. Are you a professional real estate photographer? Try the Giraffe360 PRO Camera risk-free for 60 days. Just $123 per month for 2 months with no long-term commitment. Scan up to 10 complete property listings at no additional charge, and the test drive includes all add-ons such as blue sky replacement. For full details and to order, visit wgan.info/giraffe360-pro.
So we have Samy on. I've already given you your flowers, but I called you the man, the myth, the legend. You're the Giraffe360 guru.
I'm the resident bald man who rambles on the webinars. Yeah, I appreciate it.
It's all good. So, I just wanted to, again, do this recording to kind of go over a few things. I just did a project, 118 Salinas, that I think you've seen. And I recorded some videos on that are going to come out in the next few weeks. And so I kind of wanted to go over that. And I had a couple questions while I was doing the scan. And so maybe we can kind of just dive into it.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So one of the questions I had, I think the biggest question I had was when I'm walking around with the camera, with the Giraffe360 GO Cam, by the way, if I tilt it to the side, it kind of yells at me and it says, "Hey,
yes,
keep it upright." And I assume it's because the LiDAR is on all the time, and is it doing some sort of slam scanning as I'm walking around? Is that accurate, or?
That's exactly it. Yeah, well assumed. So essentially, as you're carrying the camera around the property, the LiDAR's in the upright position and it's capturing measuramental data. And we use that in kind of the cartographer, and it's part of the SLAM technology. So it's basically looking at the contours as of the room and storing that as you move around the space. And that's one of the inputs to the many kind of machine learning models that help generate the floor plans on the back end. And so why it tells you off when you tilt is because if you imagine that spinning on a single plane, if you tilt, we then start to get all sorts of crazy data, which is really throwing off. So we have like a tolerance level where we can correct, again, using models on the back end. But if you tilt it 90 degrees, we then all of a sudden have, the ceiling measurements. And so it's impacting the quality of the data that the model's using to generate the floor plans. And then obviously it impacts things like processing times, et cetera, et cetera. So we give the user as much control and kind of, as much guidance to get the best output possible from the product.
So don't carry it like I'm carrying a fishing pole.
Like a javelin. Yeah, exactly.
So, I have a Tesla, and when I turn on my full self-driving, if I'm not paying attention enough, it beeps at me, and then at some point it just disables it. Giraffe360, is it gonna at some point just be like, all right, we can't use this anymore, stop tilting it? Or is it just gonna keep beeping and then you guys are gonna have a longer processing time? Is that kind of how it works?
Exactly. So with the Go camera, what will happen is it will continue to notify you, and then essentially the data that we have to produce the floor plans will be based on it'll be like a lower degree of confidence, right? Because the more inputs we have, and there are multiple inputs, by the way, the SLAM is not the sole input that we use to generate the floor plans, but the more inputs we have, the higher the level of confidence we get from the machine learning models. So if you consistently impacts that SLAM data, then we might have to reach out and say, hey, you potentially have a lower level of confidence in your floor plans, and try to keep it upright, if that makes sense. Generally we're able to correct, but as we move more into kind of the technology-led space, it will have a larger impact on the output that the client receives.
Okay, fair enough. Another question I had was, when I'm scanning, you know, coming from some other technologies, my thought process is scan a lot. And early on, Amy had wrote me and said, you know, you don't need as many scans. You can do like 1 per room, 2 per room. And that's like really messing with my, you know, natural kind of instinct to more scan points, the better. And so this time I really tried to do less scans. And I was in a bedroom of the house. Uh, I typically would scan on either side of a door and then maybe 1 scan in the middle. And then I'll do a 3rd scan with the closet door open so to get that data. Do I need to do that 3rd scan with the closet door open, or can I just open the closet door and move the camera in there a little bit and then move it out and let the slam capture it?
So we would recommend that you scan with the door open, right? The reason is you've then got like a static point where the data's been captured inside, and so it's like it's all about that higher degree of confidence. So yeah, with the Go Cam it was basically designed for users to get in and out of the property as quickly as possible. You can obviously take and generate as much high quality content as possible as well in that short time frame. You can take more scan points. It depends, if you've got a preference for like more scan points for kind of a better user experience when navigating the tours. Now, the big difference that you'll see when you get the the Pro Cam, is the Pro Camera is centered around Gaussian splat technology. So Gaussian splat, the easiest way that I would kind of explain Gaussian splatting is, rather than a virtual tour, which is multiple panoramas, kind of like putting points in space and you navigate from panorama to panorama, and there's kind of a mesh on the the underlayer. A Gaussian splat is a true kind of model of the property. It's taking all of that point cloud data, that very dense point cloud data, and all of the image data, and it's filling in gaps. So rather than being locked point to point, you're actually able to create a full 3D kind of movie studio of that space. But with that comes a requirement for a higher volume of scans and multiple heights. So whilst the Go Cam can cope with, single scan inside each room, and it's going to give you those core kind of the tour video, the virtual tours, the floor plans, all kind of the images all fully edited. The Pro Cam's designed with a heavier capture cadence, but you're then getting Gaussian splats, and that's giving you access to drone footage, cinematic, and a whole plethora of potential off the back of it. So yeah, it's definitely 2 different cadences, but with the Go Camera, your current model, you can get away with less frequency in terms of the scans.
Okay. But you kind of revisit it with the closet door. The only reason I don't do the scans in the room with the doors open initially is because I feel like closets are kind of ugly sometimes and
100%
mess it up. So, especially if there's stuff in it. But
yeah, you don't want to show someone's knickers on the internet, do you?
Yeah. So, I guess what you're basically saying though is I do have to take a scan, a picture in that halfway in, halfway out, whatever. The slam alone is not enough to capture that closet space. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, so the slam is basically situating all of the scans and acting as an input point. But when you place the camera down and you press scan, that's like very much a kind of like very hard data point, which we can use with high confidence.
Okay.
Now, you scanning with those doors open for like a fitted wardrobe or something like that is sufficient to get data, because the camera can see the back of the wall. So that kind of point in space, light like that LiDAR from a fixed position scan will capture enough data to generate the floor plan and include it in the final product. You can, inside the dashboard, just hide that panorama. So anything that you capture that you want for floor plans, you can hide from the virtual tours. So you don't need to kind of, as I say, have somebody's knickers visible on the internet. You can hide that, and that will be kind of processed as a part of the normal processing flow.
We've done houses that the underwear have been in showers.
But we've seen all sorts.
And I'm like,
honestly, I could think of just so many shocking examples of things we've seen in scans since I started at Giraffe360. But yeah, that's luckily we have the hide functionality. So yeah, any space you want included in the floor plans, always best to scan. Even if it's a garage and everybody shoves everything they don't want in the house in the garage while they're selling their property, scan it, hide it. Your vendor's happy, your floor plans are complete.
Okay. Do you have that? I guess maybe since you're the guru, I should ask you, based on that tour that I just uploaded. I don't know if you want to look at it and tell me if you have any feedback, maybe something I could have done better or something that you liked. I'm not gonna fish for compliments, but was there anything that you would have changed on how I did that tour?
First of all, it's a beautiful property. So like a great property always like it shines really well with Giraffe. Um, one thing I noticed off the bat is I believe you have got the tripod legs extended fully. Is that correct?
Did, yeah. For the
Yeah.
scan I did for the still photos, I collapsed one set of legs.
So we would always recommend with the this is with the Go camera, with the Pro camera, you don't have to worry about this. But with the Go camera, we would always recommend scanning on that middle height setting. So I'm very short, right? I'm like 5'7", but the camera comes to about chest height for me.
Yeah.
And you would assume that that's a low kind of perspective. You know, using a traditional camera, you would generally go to eye height, right?
Yeah.
But because it's tripod based and it's a 360 scan, essentially we have to leave space at the bottom for the tripod. Now if you're on too high a height setting, that space impacts your view down, so you don't get as much of a view of, say, like in this property it's worked absolutely fine because it's nice and spacious, but say you were in a very kind of, you know, a tight kitchen, galley kitchen,
Yeah.
you might not see the front of that oven or the fitted furniture. So we'd always recommend that middle height setting for your internal scans. That's with the Go camera. With the Pro camera, it automatically scans at multiple heights,
Yeah.
so you don't need to worry about your tripod like playing around with the tripod for the scans. It will automatically take both, and you can adjust the height from 7 settings for your photos, so you've got full control on the Pro camera as well.
Okay. Well, yeah, so I'll be honest, when we're doing still photos in the house, I usually keep our regular cameras at about, I don't know, chest height on me. It's kind of about a little higher than a doorknob, if that makes sense. And so when I got the Giraffe Go Cam, I just because the legs were there, I was like, well, let me just extend it fully. Not knowing that, yeah. So I didn't know that. So okay, that's good to know. And that's
I mean, the
helpful.
tour still looks fantastic though. Like it's just you asked me for notes.
No, it's good.
But I think the tour looks amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good feedback because I did the first like round of the house for the virtual tour, and then I did a second lap of the house with the lower tripod for the still photos. So on the still photos, they are lower. So that will be helpful because I could do kind of both at the same time.
Yeah, that's the best scan cadence I find with the Go camera is to scan and photograph each room while you're in each room.
Yeah.
And then you can just use the gallery to check that you've got full visibility. And what I really like on this tour is the house has got a great garden space, right? A yard. And the backyard is brilliant, and you've gone outside and captured that space. What I see very often is people don't go and scan that outdoor space, and I think you miss out on so much kind of like heart of the property by showing the outside and getting people that full feel, and you know, being able to go back to the end of the garden of the yard and look back at the property. That's one of the first things you do when you buy a new home, right? Is you walk to the back of the yard if you're lucky enough to have one and look at the house and go, you know, so happy, and it gives you that perspective. So I think it's great that you've done the outdoor scans as well, because you know, people often don't necessarily do those or see the value in them.
I had a comment about that. Somebody had asked me, can you go outside with it? And I was like, yeah, let me try it.
There you go. And you can. Yeah, no, other than that, it's a beautiful tour. I think everything's applied perfectly, like we see in the mirrors. You place the camera based on the best location to scan, as opposed to worrying about, is it going to be caught in a reflection? Because obviously you've been aware that we're going to remove it from reflections automatically and that type of stuff. So I think your placement in this tour is absolutely perfect, and it's such a lovely property as well. Yeah.
Nice. Well,
yeah.
Thank you. So do you have, can we talk about pricing? Is that okay?
Yeah, of course. And yeah.
Okay. So everybody's asking how much, and that's one thing I haven't made a video on yet, which maybe we can use this for the video to talk about pricing. There's some competitors who charge processing fees based on square footage you upload. There's competitors who charge processing fees based on number of scan points, number of tours you upload. How does Giraffe360 price let's say I didn't know anything about it, and you're trying to sell me on getting the Go Cam or the Pro Cam. How does it work for pricing?
Yeah, of course. So you can get access to Giraffe360 from as little as 223 per month USD, right? And as little as is just, that's just the kind of starting point. I know people hate to hear that, but that's the starting point. And that will give you access to project processing for 2 properties per month. And it will give you access to the camera. And it's broken down hardware fee, which is a monthly fee, and the number of projects that you process. And you would just commit to a volume. So for agents, the camera fee is always flat at 139 per month. This is for the Go camera. And then there's a scaling pricing based on the number of properties that you capture on average. So for kind of people who are doing low volume, maybe 2 properties per month is great for a realtor. That's going to come in at 223 per month. And then for people who are doing, 40 properties per month, if you're, multi-site, photography agency, then that's that kind of starts from where is my total monthly? That's 1189 per month. So that's giving you access to the camera and 40 properties per month. Now, we don't charge for like the hosting included as a part of the Go Camera subscription. So there's no kind of historical fees. You're just paying on a monthly basis for the number of properties that you capture on average.
If I wanted to do, let's say, 2 properties a month, and then let's say one month I got busy and had an extra 2 properties, do you charge kind of individual prices for additional properties, or do you just bump me up to the next tier, or how does that work?
No, we can upgrade your package at any time, right? But if you have just like a particular month is busy, like we don't cut the service off. You can use more projects if you need to. And it's flexible. So let's say you're on a 12-month contract, and you're on 2 projects per month. You've got 24 projects to use as you wish throughout your entire contract term. So if one month you're quiet and you only do 1, then the additional 2 will roll over to the next month. Now, this is very much the Go camera based pricing. The Pro camera will be priced differently. There's a lot more kind of we've made some pretty amazing steps in terms of AI breakthroughs, and so we're able to kind of pass that on via the costing of the Pro camera. So we've got like a great aggressive price point for the Pro camera, and we're announcing that later in the month, I think on the 18th of October. So but yeah.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, do you want to talk about and I don't know if you want to talk about it now or later, but photographers, agents who have bought into the Go Cam, how does that work when the Pro Cam comes out? Do you
So
have to go and buy the Pro Cam, or like what's the solution for that?
it's a great question. So for our existing US customers, as soon as the release is live, the choice will be up to the customer which of the products they choose, right? So as we mentioned earlier, and you're capturing amazing content with the Go camera, you're in and out of the property at pace, and you're getting HDR photos, virtual tours, video, floor plans, etc., etc. If that workflow works for you and that content's sufficient for you and for what you need, great. You can continue on kind of current price point, continue with the Go camera. If, however, you kind of see the value in the plethora of content and the potential from what can be provided from the Pro Cam, the Gaussian splats, all of the kind of amazing drone and cinematic videos and everything that will come with that over time, then for those customers, we're more than happy to have a discussion with them, run them through the differences in the workflow, and put them on the product which suits them best. So we very much are kind of whatever works best for your business. That's what we want to work on with you on.
Okay. And did I see something about being able to upgrade from the Go to the Pro is it like a where you send in the one camera and you get another one back, or how does that work?
Yeah, I don't think we've fully decided on exactly what the swap process will look like for an existing customer. So it will obviously depend on contract terms, etc. But as a company, we're flexible, and we want to make sure that our customers are making use of the best technology available, on the market. And so, yeah, if a customer needs it, we will get a customer onto the correct products for them.
So I know that and I would like to have both, because I want to do a side-by-side comparison. I maybe long term I don't need both, but at least initially I want to try them both out and do some content on that. But is there a situation where you see that a agent or a photographer has both and continues to use both going forward? Maybe one for a certain amount of properties and one for others. Is that
That's how we see it definitely in the short term, that's how we see it, because there is two distinct capture processes. And so it kind of depends on horses for courses. I think later down the line, we see a world where every customer is using the Pro camera, and we would have we would be building out more functionality and kind of power in that. And I think we'll get to a point where you would say, why would I have the Go camera once we get to that stage? But I think, for the immediate term, we do want to provide that flexibility. And so, because it's still early days in the release and things will kind of develop over time, we do want to ensure that customers have that flexibility and they can make the choice as to which of the products suit them best.
okay? And kind of going back to this particular tour that I did, and I'll put a link in the description of the video when I post it with the tour link and all the assets from that particular project. But I noticed that the point clouds are included, which some competitors charge additional for that, and you guys include that. So that's great to see.
We do charge additional for the point clouds. So they are like a charged functionality.
Okay.
The pricing breakdown for it's available on the website.
Is it? Yeah, I didn't. So maybe mine was just included because you guys like me.
It's because we like you.
Okay. All right. So misspoke about that.
No problem. I can show you a couple if you want.
Yeah.
Maybe a good thing to do would be to show you like a couple of maybe like tips that I kind of see just based on like your projects and like things that people kind of tend to wow them. So hopefully you guys can now see my screen.
Yep.
Yeah, perfect. So obviously from the kind of main projects page, we're heading to 18 Salinas. And then in here, we've got like our core project cards. So start off with the floor plans. These are like a great asset, right? Some years, these have been the most requested piece of content by buyers. Obviously, photos are sat there as standard. Now, a couple of things. So your language is set, you've set your dimensions, you've chosen your colors, you've applied your branding. So you've done all of the great things on there. A couple of things that people tend to miss. So layout. So you've got the option of grid and adaptive. I love the adaptive layout. I think it makes like a much better use of the space. And we use a couple of models to just place the floors in the right order. But I feel like you get kind of a nicer and more polished view. So you can kind of set that adaptive layout. And again, anything you set in here, you can set as a preset.
Okay.
Objects you can add. So if you ever want to add like as an example, if you ever want to add as an example things like beds or additional furniture into the space, you can add that using the objects tool. And then you also have like the ability to hide the sidebar and show the sidebar and all that type of good stuff. So there's a lot of kind of editability baked into the floor plans. So if we say, okay, let's just go floor 2 as an example. We want to add objects. You've got the automatically identified ones, but you might want to say, hey, this is a rental. Obviously, this property is unfurnished, so we don't see, there's no bed actually in this bedroom, but you might want to show it as a bedroom and say, okay, right, this vendor actually wants to see this. We can automatically just pop a double bed in there, and there's tons of objects for you to choose from. So if you do want to take that a little bit more time in the property, you can do so. Anything you do in here will, as you know, save in real time. And then I can see here from a settings perspective, you've already chosen the anti-Fannie Mae standards. So the floor plans are built against those standards. So we've got the GLA calculation, finished above grade. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, not to cut you off, but let's
No problem.
I don't think I saw anywhere that you're ANSI certified. So ANSI,
we're not necessarily anti-certified, but we're building our floor plans around the ANSI guidelines. Okay. So it's very difficult for an actual product to get certified. And I don't think the reason is necessarily like the accuracy of the LiDAR or these types of things. I think we see it as being a kind of journey that the industry needs to go on in terms of businesses being clear and open and honest about how they do what they do. Yeah. And so that's and that's what I think is super, super important. And like getting
not certified but recognized, I guess, is
we're building as per their standards. Okay. So like we follow the ANSI standards in the same way that if you were to go and draw a floor plan, you would do it by the book using the ANSI guidelines. We build our floor plans as per those ANSI guidelines. We would love in the future to get to a point where we're certified. there's not really technology that's at a point where it's certified straight off the shelf. And we would love to get to that point. And we see it being a journey of kind of openness, honesty about how we generate things. And that's how we see us kind of building those relationships with houses like ANSI and Fannie Mae.
I've tended to say certified when I've mentioned ANSI, and maybe that's not the correct use of terms. Maybe it's following the ANSI guidelines, but that's ANSI Z765-2021, which from what I understand, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's good for public record, good for appraisals. Fannie Mae recognizes it. So if you have public record, which a lot of times, that was done by some guy with a tape measure 40 years ago after he left lunch and maybe had a couple too many drinks. And so the square footage is either really high or really low. And then we come in with some of these devices and scan, and the square footage is what it is. You're not going to fool a couple 100,000 laser measurements. And so sometimes that works to agents' benefit. Sometimes it doesn't. I've had agents say, well, the square footage you reported is lower or it's higher. And I'm like, well, it's accurate.
Yeah, and there's flexibility to edit in there as well, but that's exactly it, isn't it? And this is why the reason that it's very hard for technology to get that kind of stamp of certification is because it's historically only been given to an individual, and it's kind of that individual is taking on, okay, I am certified and that's how I'm providing measurements. But like you say, the methodology isn't necessarily defined. It's just how you kind of like how you include elements of the space, and so we really do kind of see a world where in the future that certification's on, always something that we're very open to doing. Now a couple of other tips actually that I see here. So still photos come back. I assume you're happy with how the photos look, but you have got control. So you can bring up like exposure, you can play with saturation, vibrance, everything. Like this is all kind of baked into the platform as standard. And you can add and create your own custom styles as well. You can save these in your presets, so you don't have to edit on an image by image basis. You can edit projects. You can create like your settings for all of your projects as standard, right? And you can set that for indoor or outdoor. Now we're doing the television. Go ahead.
And I was gonna say that's huge. I'll say I've admitted it recently. I've came clean and admitted that I'm colorblind, and so I have a really hard time with tones and colors and that sort of thing. I have a really great in-house editing team who edits all my photos for me. But I noticed I did a video maybe a month ago where I had a realtor friend who is not really experienced with 3D tours. I had him try the Go Cam in a house. And I don't know if you've seen that video, but I'll send you the link to it. It's quite comic.
Great there.
Yeah, but so we got through this house, and he's a true photographer. I mean, I'm a photographer too, but he's a true realtor / photographer. So he likes making colors more saturated and pop a little more, and he really goes and fine tunes all his photos. I let my editing team do all that. And so I said all that to say that having that finite control that you offer is great, and especially being able to save it to like a preference that particular user likes.
100%. And what we're doing is we're doing like some of the more complex work before you even see these images, right? So there's a lot of tools out there that will, HDR imagery on a mobile phone, and they will just take those 3 exposures or how many exposures they capture, and they will just like mercilessly blend them. And so you end up with something that is definitely better than just like a single exposure image on a phone, but is not as good as a professionally edited kind of blended HDR image. So like all the way down to like the windows. So we have a model which takes the windows and masks them and then pulls the correct exposure from that space specifically. So it's not just a straight merciless blend of the 3. It's there's kind of rhyme and reason and years of kind of development of these models to understand how to edit an image, and then you've got your control. And this property is beautiful, and it's staged perfectly, but sometimes that's not the case, right? Like sometimes maybe a dog has left a surprise in the garden and the owner in their rush to leave has forgotten to pick it up. We don't want to show those things on the virtual tours. We don't want to show those things on the floor plans, on the still images. It doesn't make us look professional.
Photographer doesn't step on it while he's out there.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's all over the house.
Yeah.
But we do have, again, like a really easily accessible AI tool here, which is just an object remover. So you see something like that, instead of having to go and open a third-party tool, just grab the objects. Let's say it was this light in this example, and then the system will just very quickly remove that object for us. So that's great for small things like, you know, a scuff on the floor that maybe needs a mop after you've left, but you didn't see it while you were on site, or a surprise from the dog, a shampoo bottle in the shower, or knickers, like you said, knickers in the shower earlier. It's great for those types of little faux pas. You can get those removed nice and easily for us. So I'll definitely make use of this. And there's lots that we do here. So like the televisions, we will replace the screens on the televisions, all that good stuff. And all of that is kind of editable and controllable by you inside your dashboard as well.
Okay. I have a feature request. Can I throw it out there?
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah.
And we don't have to talk about it if you don't want to, but it'd be nice to throw out there. It would be amazing if you guys could offer site plans to show not only the floor plan, but also the site plan of what the property outside looks like.
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting feature. So in what's like, where do you see that going to market? Like how would you utilize that as a kind of media provider?
Well, I have agents who specifically request that, and there's a tool that I use, and the tool utilizes like Google satellite imagery to draw the site plans. Where this is particularly useful seems to be out here. I'm not far from wine country in the Napa Valley, and there's a
Very nice.
nice like Airbnb properties, resorts, and that sort of thing. And they have bocce ball courts and outdoor kitchens and a vineyard and a pool and outdoor dining and all the stuff on a property, maybe a few different guest houses. And so to be able to show all that would be helpful. And that I would think could either be done by scanning outside if you already have all that data, or you could also use some sort of satellite imagery to do that.
That's very cool.
But there's
the
not
way our
3D virtual companies that are offering that.
Yeah, it's a cool feature request. So the way our product lines are broken up is we have like a distinct, like almost think of them as disciplines, right? So we have a distinct discipline for each element of the product. So we have one for immersive, which covers like the videos, the virtual tours, and all kind of non-static content. And then we have floor plans and kind of that element of the platform as a singular discipline as well. So what I will definitely do is share that with those guys and get them to loop in with you, because we love to kind of hear the requests from features, and some of our kind of great features that we have in the product have come from customer requests. And so sometimes the eureka moments come from internal and us trying to kind of change a game, and sometimes we just hear something amazing from a client or a user as well. So yeah. I'll definitely loop that in.
Cool.
And then I was just going to check, have you made use of kind of like the property website? Like, have you ever generated a property website and this type of thing for? Because I know you're working with agents, aren't you?
Yeah, I did for this one, just to test it out. I to kind of be transparent, Amy had sent me a list of, I guess, common queries that you guys get. And so I went through this and kind of hit all those topics. One of those, I think, was how to make a property website.
Amazing. And the listing spotlight as well, which property website falls under in the kind of product categories. And we just released something today, which is, I guess, great for agents, but they could say, I want to start a campaign for a property that's just listed. I want to put it through the just listed and for sales cycles, and I've got an open house on the 15th of October. And instead of having to go and think about all of that content and generate it, because we've got all of that content inside captured by Giraffe360, they can then go generate a marketing campaign off the back of the content that we've produced. This is, as you can see up here, a function which is very much in beta, but you see we're taking your logos that you've applied to your images, your edits, we're taking the price of the property, we're kind of generating social ready posts. You can then take a QR code and just kind of like list these on your social sites, and it will generate a cohesive kind of social strategy off the back of it with a multitude of media. Right now it's based on images, but there's, as you can see, it's in beta. There's tons of plans to create something really powerful. And for you as a kind of media provider working with agents, you can actually, this can be like an additional service that you now can provide to agents on top of just the amazing media capture.
Now, agents, if we share the link with them, agents are able to go in and create this on their own. Is that accurate?
Yeah, so with the current version of the dashboard, you could give the agent access to your platform, and you could give them like write access specifically to a project which is theirs, and they could go in and say, do their little edits if they want to just bring the brightness up, or they can write the property description using our tool because we automatically write a property description, create the website, or create the campaigns as well.
That's huge. I have agents who use the platform where I deliver all my content. They use that platform to create brochures because it's very easy. And so I could see this coming in very handy for them because they also like to generate social media cards and that sort of thing. This would be helpful for me too, because I could make one and say, look what we just photographed and put that on Instagram right away, or put that, on Facebook.
Very cool.
I hate graphic design with a passion. So it has to have a canned product. That's cool.
And it's, as I say, it's in beta, but like I've seen some of the roadmap for it, and there's some, it's going to just kind of spiral into something very, very powerful. And I think the multi-channel marketing for agents is becoming a hotter and hotter and hotter topic, right? So if you as a media provider can kind of get in there and be a part of that journey, then you're impacting like the actual, their bottom line, really, aren't you? Giving them more opportunities to sell and find leads. So yeah, I love it. But this is such a beautiful property. Whereabouts is this property? Is it? So you said it's in wine country or near wine?
This one's in a town called Vacaville, which is maybe about 15 minutes from where I live.
Wow, it's beautiful. I mean, if I could show you outside here, there wouldn't be much point because it's dark. But Manchester's like great. We love it. It means we've got good bars, good music venues because we need spaces to be inside. But yeah, it looks beautiful here, and this such a great space to have captured.
Yeah, it's today it was sprinkling this morning when I woke up. It's going to be a high of I think about 70 degrees, but next week it's going to be like 80, 85 degrees Fahrenheit. So
lovely.
Yeah, it's good.
And the
weather.
The edits that I just showed you on the images. So, you mentioned there, it was cool that you could set a kind of like preset or play around with the images, and kind of like play with the brightness. That also applies to the virtual tours as well. So the panoramas, you can go in, you can make edits to these, and you can, remove objects as well. So again, if that doggy's laughter present in the garden, you can remove that in the images and the virtual tours as well, using the same kind of setup.
I know you have the object removal tool. Is there a blur tool?
There is a blur tool as well. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, gotcha.
So we will automatically blur like faces, registration plates of vehicles. So if there's like family photographs on the wall, that we will automatically like mask the face and blur that face for you. And you have editability of that as well.
That saying "no good deed goes unpunished." It's a really long story, but I photographed my father-in-law's house, and he was selling it. And I probably shouldn't put all his business out there, but I went to his house.
You could beep it. The name.
We'll bleep this whole conversation out. I went to his house, so cluttered because he works a lot. He's a very hard worker. He's not at home a lot, but on the walls were like, and I never noticed them until I'm photographing it, but on the walls there's like 50 family photos, all nicely framed, just everywhere. And I'm like, I can't, like,
it's hellish to get rid of all of that inside.
Yeah, so I think this one is
just like hellish.
Blur each. Oh man, it was so tedious. So
oh gosh,
I'm just
we'll zoom right in, and we'll identify the faces and we'll apply a blur mask. Sometimes it's AI, right? So sometimes it's going to miss, but it's going to get 90% of those automatically. But you can just copy and paste the blur as well. So if anything missed, or the faces on the side or something, and it's not quite picked it up, just a 2-second job. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, great property.
Yeah, so I don't know if you want to go back and look at all my projects, but I've done a couple others. The one at the bottom was a warehouse, and have you seen a lot of non-residential properties being done with the Go Cam, or even the Pro Cam's not shipped yet, but have you seen a lot of non-residential properties being done?
Yeah, we have clients who capture office spaces, warehouses, that type of thing. The Go Cam's definitely great for that kind of capture. Like a large open plan space like this, you can see the volume of scans that you've had to capture to get, like, your floor plans, your virtual tour, and everything is quite simple, isn't it? So, but it's definitely like a smaller part of our client base. The vast majority are working in the residential real estate space.
Okay. Yeah, I like just kind of pushing the limits and seeing what can be done. How do you think the Go Cam would do as far as maybe scanning an outdoor space like a park or something for, let's say, a local city wants a
Yeah, so we have clients who do outdoor spaces. So a very memorable property for me was, it's like a French castle type thing. It was, how the other half lived type place, and it came with grounds. And so, like, as a big selling point for that property was not just the kind of beautiful old building. It was actually the tennis courts, the gardens, the lake, with the boats on it. And so the client went out and captured all of those spaces. And so, whilst we don't provide a floor plan for those spaces, we will kind of place the scans sequentially so you can move around the outdoor space.
Okay.
Similarly to how you would in the indoor space, you just won't have the map associated to it.
Well, that's where my feature request comes in.
Yeah, yeah, it does.
I really see it being a thing.
Very nice. I'll be sure to loop you in. I think the team are always super keen to hear new ideas for the product.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, it seems like you've picked the product up and pretty quickly have got to grips with it.
Yeah, it's a great tool, like I said, and I'm really interested in seeing the Pro Cam and seeing all it can do. I'm kind of, I don't want to say ignorant with the E57s, the data files, the point clouds. I'm not that familiar with, I guess, how to process them and all that. So I want to jump more into that and do some comparisons on the difference. And I don't know if you've seen the E57s from the Pro Cam, but I'm going to assume the point cloud files are a lot more dense than the Go Cam. Is that an accurate statement?
Yeah, absolutely. So the lidars we build ourselves, right? So the lidars that we manufacture in house in our manufacturing facility, and the Pro Camera lidar is definitely a step change in terms of the density, etc., etc. So you get in a lot more points, and you're also capturing from two heights. So the new camera comes with an automatic height tripod, which changes the height during the scanning process. And so not only are you getting much denser point cloud just because it's a new lidar, you're also getting the added benefit of scanning from two heights. So you're getting a much richer kind of point cloud file. And then because there is a new scanning cadence where you can kind of like build the floor plan in real time with scan view, and you've got a little bit more control over the process, you're then also kind of walking away from the property with a higher level of confidence in terms of what you've captured. But yes, long answer for a simple question is you will get a much higher density on the new camera.
Okay. Couple things maybe to talk about. I see that the tech specs for the Go Cam, I think, is that 20.4 megapixels? Is that right?
Yes, yeah.
Do you know what they are on the Pro?
I don't off the top of my head. I would have to go and check the spec sheet. It's just released in beta. I would have to check the spec sheet. I don't want to say something wrong.
That's fine. One thing I noticed when I was doing the photos, and I don't know if you want to look at the still photos when you get a minute. I can still see your screen. Don't show anything purple.
Oh, no, okay.
I just didn't want you to share your winning lottery numbers or anything. Oh, is that them 20.3?
That's the last set of tech specs that I've seen. So yeah. So maybe I can maybe clarify these, and I can send something over and we can take a look at them. Like I'd send them over for you to kind of superimpose if
Sure,
as people are interested in seeing them.
Yeah. The if we can go to the photos on maybe the Salinas project, one thing I was playing with was the different fields of view, and this might be another feature request, but instead of doing the 100 degrees, 110, 115, maybe we can put it in like a millimeter equivalent, like a lenses,
Okay.
millimeter, 14 millimeter, 16 millimeter. I tend to shoot all the indoor spaces right around 14 millimeters. And I noticed that I think when I had it on auto, it tended to crop in a little bit. And in some of the rooms, I think one of the bedrooms I did twice. I did one at auto where it was cropped in, and then I did one at maybe 115 where it was a little more cropped out.
I imagine that's this.
Yeah, was that it? Yeah, so that one was auto, and then that was 100
That's the wide angle.
115.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that looks right. Yeah.
I like that 115. To me, that seems more, 14 millimeter, maybe 16 millimeter equivalent.
Yeah.
Do you have a preference on, I don't know, which degrees you like, or?
I would always pretty much, if I'm taking photography inside a property, I would almost always use the 115. It would only be if I want a very specific shot, or maybe that I would use the kind of the smaller field of view. And because we've got cropping tools inside the dashboard and that type of thing, like I always think I'd rather walk away knowing that I've got a lot of data that I can then fine tune if I need to, as opposed to kind of trying to over perfect it on site. So yeah, I would basically set it at 115 and I would capture the entire property on 115 generally.
I didn't notice this, but are we able to crop at all? So if we
you can. Yeah, you can crop. There's a crop tool inside the dashboard, and you can play with the aspect ratio up here as well. Okay. And then the cropping sits at the top.
Gotcha. That's helpful.
Yeah. So you can crop, and you can lock the resolution as well.
Nice.
Yep. So you've not got images that are kind of like different sizes when you upload it.
Yeah. I've had agents who have asked us to crop some of the photos, and I'm like, okay, we can, but it's gonna look a little weird, or and so we'll have to keep the same aspect ratio, or and it'd be nice to let them be able to do that too. Like, here's the photos, crop them how you want, because every agent had a different thought process for how they want to use the photos.
100%. And we're developing, like, I don't know if you've watched any of our webinars, and for people who have watched our webinars, like every 30 days we have a committal that's the pace that we keep in terms of like meaningful releases. And it's never just one release. It's because, as I mentioned earlier, the product lines are distinct disciplines, within what makes property like media rich, like that. We have multiple disciplines. And so we're always releasing in each of our product lines different things. And our core product line is definitely thinking. So core is who manage kind of the dashboard and, the gubbins of how everything works. Like, we're definitely thinking about how we can take that next step inside here to make it even more powerful for that real estate media provider, photographer and agent relationship. So there's a lot of really good stuff coming in the pipeline as well, on the dashboard for helping with that relationship, like you just mentioned.
Yeah. Nice. All right. Well, thank you for your time. You answered a lot of the questions I had, and it was super, super helpful. I can't wait to get my hands on the Pro Cam and try it.
Yeah, there should be one on its way to you, so I'll double check and expedite if not.
Yeah, I heard. Thank you again, and
no problem.
Thanks, Tom and Samy. Got follow-up questions for Tom, or want to engage Tom to scan or consult? Go to www.sparksmediagroup.com or www.scanyourspace.com, or post your questions to the We Get Around Network Forum at www.wegetaroundnetworkforum.com. Also, subscribe to the Sparks Media Group YouTube channel at Sparks Media Group. For all WGAN-TV podcast episodes, look for WGAN-TV in your favorite podcast app, or go to www.wgan-tv.com. Thank you for watching this episode of the WGAN-TV Podcast.